Larry Williams, slow grind for portfolio for multi-charts. Um, as the name implies, this strategy is based on Larry Williams. We have a Larry Williams slow grind in a strategy level, and we also have it in a portfolio level. It is an extremely powerful program if configured correctly. So let's just move on to a quick example of our typical portfolio without any portfolio money management. This is just three strategies that we've been using in previous videos, made $29,000. That's our equity curve. Little choppy, got negative here. No money management on these strategies whatsoever. This is just for presentational purposes, as you can see. Three strategies, raw, nothing added. Okay, let's see what happens if we add a little portfolio money management. Not strategy, but portfolio management only, just to see the power of that as applied to the portfolio. Larry Williams' slow grind is based on the fact that you will wait for X number of losing trades before it increases position size. And once it has a win or a gain, it will decrease that position size by the same amount you have programmed. If it has another loss, it will increase. If it has a gain, it will decrease. One up, one back. This is very, very similar to the Money Management 2 program. Let's just show that so as not to be confused. They're similar, but not quite the same. This needs to be understood. Money Management Method 1 and 2. Number 2 is set so that after a certain condition that you have pre-programmed in the money management system, it will increase position size by a certain amount. And then once you have a win, it will decrease. But it will not take every trade. It must start at a predetermined point. For example, we increase and decrease our position amount in the Larry Williams slow grind and in MM2 with these numbers. Even though money management is set to 0, these still affect it. So we're not putting additional inputs for redundancy. We're trying to eliminate that. So these are still active, even though that's set to 0 for Larry Williams slow grind. I set this for 1 for percentage. It can be set for 2 for contracts or shares. In this particular case, 1, it will increase our position size after every loss by 50% and decrease it after every win by 50%. The Money Management 2, it will not take every trade. It will only start trading once you have met certain criteria. It's a little more selective, whereas the Larry Williams will take every trade, even if they lose, but not increase the position size until the setting has been reached. For example, to start the Larry Williams slow grind, I have set it to 3. 0 is off. 1 is it will increase position size after 1 loss, 2 after 2 losses, 3 after 3 losses, and so on. In this particular case, I have set it for 3. Once there are 3 losses in a row in our portfolio of multiple strategies, regardless of the strategy, it will then start increasing position size according to the logic. Okay. To see this in action, let's go to a chart that will show what happens when this is applied. Okay. Big change, really big change. Remember, this is what we had with no money management, with a gain of 29,000. Now, this is what we have with Larry Williams slow grind set to 3 and at 50% increase and decrease. Performance, wow, 347,000. So, I mean, this is a huge gain in profits and a huge difference in equity curve. This is a very powerful method if applied and configured correctly. Let's go ahead and do the trade by trade to get a better understanding. As you can see, base position 144. We want 3 losses in a row. In this particular case, we had 2 losses, so nothing happened. Still base position. Down here, 3 losses in a row. That met the conditions, and now we will start to increase the leverage. By 50% to 16, we got a gain. So we revert right back 50% back to our base. 2 losses. Got to get the 3 losses in a row before we do anything. And depending on your system, it depends on how many trades you will have, depends on how many times your strategy or your portfolio will have those X losses in a row. Here's 3 again. We increased, but we lost again. We increased again. We lost again. As you see, 50%. We just keep increasing. And then we had a win. Now it will decrease by 50%. Back to 324, but we had a loss. So it increases. Then we had a gain, then decreases. Had another gain, decreases. As you can see, it got back to base position. So it's a very creative technique, and if managed right, it will virtually create additional profits for just about any script you put into this program. But sometimes, depending on the strategy, how many losses it takes, how many bad runs your strategy may have over a period of time, you don't want the up one, back one to go on forever. You want it to eventually reset back to base. So to avoid it just going on and on and on and getting to the point where the portfolio is not manageable using this, we've devised a method to avoid this. Larry Williams suggested once your portfolio or a strategy, by leveraging using this strategy, gets to a profit, has paid for the losses, and gets to an equity high, we want to reset. Okay. Just as in Money Management 2, we use this input. We will use it in Larry Williams Slow Grind. Here it is. We want to allow Money Management Method 2 Stop on Profit. That's Money Management 2 here, or Slow Grind. This is set to false. We're going to set it to true. So now, instead of just going up, going back, and hopefully it gets back to base position at some point, which it does most of the time, depending on your portfolio, it may not. And this could make a very volatile or choppy portfolio. To be a little more selective and smooth that out, we're going to set this true. So once we get a profit based when we started increasing and decreasing our position size, we get to an equity high. We want to just, whatever position size we're on, let's resort back to our base position and let's start over again. So that's how that works. So we're going to go ahead now. We're going to back test this and run this. And, this would be a more selective approach. And depending on your strategies, you will need to use this at times. The Larry Williams Slow Grind without this input or with it set on false will be much more aggressive. Okay, it's finalizing the configuration of the portfolio. And here's the result. As you can see, a very nice equity curve, not the dramatic equity curve we saw before. Profits, $55,000, not 300 plus thousand. So it reduced substantially the profits, but smoothed out the equity curve. And it's a precautionary input to prevent the portfolio from crashing on a really bad run. So that helps depending on your portfolio configuration. But once again, you got to hand it to Larry Williams. This is one absolutely mind-boggling money management technique, and used with other inputs and configured correctly, will give you just outstanding, just mind-blowing results that only can be achieved through aggressive money management, like similar to this that Larry has taught us.